I have just started up the recording. We are officially at the hour. Hello, everyone who has joined today. So excited to have you here with us for our special St. Patrick's themed Tinkercad session. So if you have not already signed into your Tinkercad accounts, please do so now so you can follow along as we design a St. Patrick's Day clover. So while we give everyone a chance to do that, just a few little bit of information about St. Patrick's Day, shamrocks and clovers. So shamrocks typically have 3 leaves, not 4, and you can see them in this picture here on my screen. St. Patrick, the one whose day this is, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, he was a Christian bishop in the 5th century Ireland. And it was said that he used the 3 leaves of the shamrock to describe the Holy Trinity. So that's sort of how shamrocks got connected to St. Patrick's Day. And 4-leaf clovers are actually very rare, somewhere between 5,000 to 1. So for every 5,000 3-leaf clovers, there's 1 4-leaf clover, or according to some reports, 10,000 to 1. So 4-leaf clovers are very rare, and they are said to bring good luck. The 4 leaves on a 4-leaf clover are also said to stand for faith, hope, love, and luck. So hopefully that little bit of an intro for you was enough to get you signed in and ready to go in Tinkercad. That is the program we're going to be using today to do our design in. So if you are a student, you will have been signing in hopefully with your teacher's class code. If you are a teacher, hopefully you will have set that up. But if you haven't done that, feel free to just sit back and watch, see what I'm doing, and then apply it when you are actually signed into your account. I will also be going through things multiple times. That way, if you miss it the first time, you can see when I go through on a repeat. And if you're watching this recording after the fact, feel free to pause me at any point, go back and resume if you have any questions. For those of you here live, please use the chat. I have it up on my other screen, so I will be monitoring that as I go through the design process. So any questions, anything you need to see again, just let me know. All right, so let's jump right on in. Today we are going to be designing this 4-leaf clover that you see here. Though, of course, if you prefer to do a 3-leaf shamrock, like the traditional shamrocks, you can do that as well. Now, if you take a look at these shamrocks we have here, each leaf sort of has these two ridges to it. So what shape does that leaf look like to you? Can someone throw that into the chat while I let my cat, who's been visiting at the beginning of the session, out of the room and back to napping on the bed? All right, get out of here, Kitty. If you're watching the recording, sorry you missed the visiting cat. But all right, let's see. Ooh, I've got multiple people who responded. It looks like a heart. Exactly. So we are going to use a heart in Tinkercad to create that shape. So anytime you're looking to build something in 3D, make sure you take a look at what the object is and try and think of basic shapes that it's similar to. I also see a joke has appeared in the chat. What did the filament say to the 3D printer on St. Patrick's Day? Let's shamrock this print. Very nice, very nice. I do not get enough good jokes in my life, so thank you for that. All right, so this is what we're going to be building. To get started, make sure you are on your Tinkercad page, and you want to make sure you are under your designs. So for students, if you see this button on the left-hand side, it says Designs. And you should have a whole series of images over here of anything you may have already designed. Now, if you haven't done any designs, this will be blank, but we're about to fill it in. So the first thing we need to do under where it says Your Designs is click on the blue button that says Create and create a 3D design. When I click Create 3D Design, I'm going to open up this blank work plane here, a virtual environment that I can use to create an object in. Now, if anyone missed that, this is an important step to get everyone started. So under Designs from your Tinkercad login page, you go to Create and then 3D Design, and that'll open up a new file for you to work in. First thing I want to do now that I am in a design is name it, because Tinkercad always comes up with these silly names that don't mean anything. So I'm going to put my name, and my name is Hannah, and then I'm going to put Clover in here. So Clover is C-L-O-V-E-R. And if you don't get a chance to change your file name now, just make sure you do it at the end, and your teacher can help you spell that again if you need it. But C-L-O-V-E-R. So that'll let your teacher know who designed it and what it is. So we mentioned at the very beginning of this that the leaves on a shamrock look a lot like a heart. So what I'm going to do is look over at my basic shapes panel here on the right-hand side until I find the heart. Now, Tinkercad actually builds this for us, so it's made our lives a lot easier. The heart you will find on the right-hand side a good ways down, and it's brown by default. So I'm going to click on it and drag it in to my work plane. That will add it to my 3D scene. So this blue area here is kind of like the ground of your 3D space. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want my shamrock to be brown. That's kind of gross, right? So we're gonna make our shamrock a pretty green color, just like it was in a real plant. Now, of course, whatever color it is in the computer doesn't mean it will be 3D printed in that color if you print it, but it's just nicer to look at while you're designing. So to change the color, if you look for the brown circle at the top, you can click on it and then select one of the shades of green or whatever color you prefer to work with. When we did our Valentine's hearts a few weeks ago, we did shades of pinks or purples or reds. But for a shamrock, I'm going to make mine green. If you missed that, the first thing we did on the basic shapes panel was scroll down, look for the heart. It is brown and on the right-hand side. Drag it in to our work plane, and then change the color by clicking on the circle at the top that matches its current color and selecting one we like more. So that's all we've done so far. Now, Tinkercad has some really nice features in here to make our lives easier. What we can do is adjust. We're going to create a copy of this heart, make some adjustments to it, and then use a button called Duplicate and Repeat that will replicate or repeat those same actions we did to the first one onto subsequent versions of it. So all that means is that we get to place and create and place our second leaf, and then it will do the hard work to place leaves 3 and 4 for us. Now, the first thing I want to do, I'm going to take a look at my object. And if you don't have a 3-button mouse, if you do, it's really easy. You can zoom in and out with the center button. You can use the right mouse button to sort of zoom around, or the left mouse button to select things. If you're on an iPad or a touch screen or anything like that, you can actually just use sort of phone commands to move around your scene. But if you don't have any of those, this top cube you can see in the upper left here, that's our view cube. So as you're designing, you can click on it and it will jump your view around from the front to the side or the top. So this is a good way to move around your scene if you don't have a 3-button mouse or you're struggling with using a sort of a touchpad or anything like that. So let's get started creating our second leaves. The first thing we need to do is select our heart. So just click on it to select it. When it's selected, you'll see this light blue outline around it. And once it's selected, we're going to look for this button right here at the top. It looks like a stack of papers. And this is called the duplicate and repeat button. So this will allow us to do is once we click that button, we'll make all the changes we want from leaf 1 to leaf 2. And then it will be able to replicate that for us for leaves 3 and 4. So watch me do it first, and then I'll pause and give you time to try it. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is with our heart selected, click on that duplicate and repeat button, and all it will do is flash for a second, and now it's created a duplicate in exactly the same place. Now I need to rotate my leaf so that instead of facing up, I want this one to face to the right. So I'm going to click on these double-sided arrows here and rotate it all the way around till it makes that nice right angle. And I'm keeping my mouse inside the circle so it helps lock it into place for me. When I let go, it will stop rotating, and I can now grab my new heart and sort of drag it into position. I'm making sure to overlap the hearts a little bit. That way, when I go to 3D print them, they're all connected together. Now, this is an important step. So far, I haven't clicked out of my new heart yet, and I don't want to. Instead, I want to use that right mouse button or the view cube and rotate around so I can see my object more from the front side rather than the top. Now from this angle, I can see a white square on top of my second heart. I'm going to click on that and drag it just a little bit down. If you see the number on the screen changes to 8, that means it's 2 millimeters shorter than it started because it started at 10. Now I'm going to let go. I have made all of the changes I want to make to my heart, but I haven't clicked off the heart at all. Now I click duplicate and repeat again and one more time, and you can see it has done the rotation and the scaling down for me. Okay, your time. Good job at just sitting and watching that happen. I'm going to give you a minute to do it, and then I'm going to repeat it all so you can see it one more time. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the chat while you are doing this. Preston in the chat says that it is just like magic, leprechaun magic. That is true. I love the duplicate and repeat feature in Tinkercad. It is so powerful and can save you so much time. All right, to all of my teachers or folks near a keyboard, how is it going? I got a message, looking great, got my kindergarten doing all of the work, making hers, wonderful. That's so exciting. Looking good so far. Awesome, awesome, glad to see it, glad to hear it. All right, so one more time, if you missed anything, I'm gonna walk through it once more so you can see how this process works. All right, from the very beginning, for anyone who may have joined late, grab a heart from the right-hand side under Basic Shapes, bring it into your scene. You can change the color to green using the circle in the top right. And now we're going to use the duplicate and repeat button. So with my heart selected, click on the button that looks like a stack of papers. That's right under where your file name is. And then after I've clicked that button, I notice my heart flashes for 1 second. That tells me it's created a duplicate in the same place. Now I'm going to look at my object from the top and then look for this double-sided arrow. clicking on the double-sided sort of curved arrow, I'm going to drag and rotate my heart around until it goes 90 degrees. So that's a right angle. And I'm keeping my mouse inside the circle while I do that, so it helps lock it into that 90 degrees. Once I've turned it, without clicking off my model, I'm going to grab the heart and drag it into position. I am intentionally keeping these overlapping a little bit. That way, it will 3D print better if you are going to go ahead and 3D print this. Now I'm going to change my view to looking from the front and look for the white square at the center of my heart, sort of above it. I'm going to click on that white square, drag it down to about 8 millimeters, so you can see the number 8 in the box, and then let go. Now again, before clicking on anything else, I'm going to click on the duplicate and repeat button 2 more times in the top toolbar, and it will repeat all of the changes I made to that first leaf to make my other 2. So there we go. Hopefully you have followed along and created a heart-shaped or a shamrock based on hearts this way. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. But otherwise, let me know if you're caught up, if you're with me, and then I'll show you how you can add the stem. All right, I've got one. We are ready. Love it. Glad to hear it. Another ready. Perfect. Okay, so adding the stem. Now you can do this a variety of ways. You can look at the basic shapes and maybe you'll add a stem out of a cylinder or a rectangular prism or this half cylinder. Tinkercad calls it a round roof. What I want to do is create something a little bit more organic, a little bit more realistic looking that feels more like a stem. So I'm going to use the scribble tool, which is a light blue shape, and it just looks like someone scribbled with a marker. So when you click on that and drag it into your scene, it will open up a whole new 2D environment for you to work in. And with this, I can just draw with my mouse some sort of stem shape. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's nature. Nothing is perfect in nature. So you can color that in, make whatever sort of stem you would like. If you want to use the draw shape button over here on the right, that will actually fill in the whole inside area for you as you draw. So you have a couple different options. But play around with the scribble tool to make a nice sort of stem shape. If you are going to 3D print this, I recommend not making it too thin. That way it stays sturdy once it gets brought into the real world. I'll click done in the bottom right-hand corner once I'm happy with my shape. And now that object that I drew has been created in 3D over here next to my clover. Again, if I want to, I can change the color. And then to move it into position, I'm just going to click on the object and drag it over. So you can, at any point, if you look at this and you're like, I don't love the shape I made, you can adjust it in the 3D scene by clicking on the different rectangles to sort of scale it or rotate it, anything that you would like until you get it sort of more what you were envisioning. Or you can even go back in and edit your scribble directly with the edit scribble button. So if I wanted to make it longer or shorter, anything like that, I could do that either using these squares or using the edit scribble button. Now, if you are looking to 3D print this object, at the very end, click and drag your mouse so that it goes over all of your objects, and click on the group button in the top toolbar right above where the color is that you select for your shapes. And that will group all of your objects into one color so that they are ready to be 3D printed. It'll make them one color, it'll make them one shape, and they will be ready to send for any 3D printing that you may do in time for St. Patrick's Day. How does everything look? Everyone liking your clovers? Yes, we love it. Ah, this is great. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about a new feature in Tinkercad with the duplicate and repeat, and you can use this to create really exciting creative objects very quickly, very simply. I actually used the duplicate and repeat tool to make this little rainbow simply by scaling down one of these half cylinders and making it a little taller at each level. And then I used the scribble tool to make my clouds. So all the same tools that I used on the clover were used to make this rainbow. Now, of course, if you 3D print this, you would have to go in and do the painting or coloring yourself on all these different layers, but still a lot of fun. My kindergartner wants to write her teacher's name and 3D print it for her. Oh, how fun. That would be such a fun gift to receive. All right, thank you everyone for attending. I'll stick around if anyone has other questions, but so glad you could join. And if you get a chance, send us a picture of what you made, especially if you 3D print them. We'd love to see the Tinkercad pictures. We'd love to see the 3D prints. And you can tag us on social media, or just send an email to me. On that note, here is my email address. Hannah.olson@boxlight.com. This is all part of our STEM offering here at Boxlight. We sell 3D printers, we sell portable science labs, and we have curriculum such as design challenges where we use Tinkercad. So thank you so much for joining today. Come back for the teachers next week, where we're going to be doing some live science experiments using our lab disk sensor. Braden will be leading that, and we hope to see you there. Thanks, everyone.